What about vocational education? You've got a couple of programs.
Yep. We have, and this is another example of how we have to be everything for everyone. On the mainland, you might send your kids who are interested in auto shop to the town next door that has an auto program, or somebody who's interested in...
Or you have a vocational school over there, high school
Exactly,
over there. Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
Here, we need to provide all of those sorts of things. So we have expanded in the last 4 years our vocational program. We've always offered auto tech, building trades. Those have been the two core pieces. Culinary arts, which is a perfect match for our island.
Right.
Recently, we've added an allied health program taught by Jessica Douglas, our school nurse, who does a marvelous job with that allied health, to give students a taste of that profession, to see if that's something they might want to go into secondary into higher education to study. We've also added a landscaping program in the last year.
With good fertilizer practices.
That's right. That's right. Right. The teacher has to have passed a pesticide course, if that makes you feel any better. But and that's a natural fit for the island. We've expanded our graphic arts program for students. So I think we've really tried to meet the needs. And as you know, you can go into the certain vocations and do very well, as evidenced by trying to find a plumber or electrician for our homes. And so we need to look at those as viable and admirable
That's a key.
vocations
That's a key,
for our kids. Yeah.
They're being admirable.
Yeah.
Because if they're looked down on by their peers.
Well, it's interesting because some of the kids who have gone into those fields, may have the opportunity to look down on some of those peers.
Eventually, but
eventually, you're right. You're right.
But in high school, it's a little different.
Yeah.
What about in the culinary arts program? Have you tracked any of them to see how
if they're going on?
If they're going on, and it's particularly going on here on the island.
We do track it. It's not a very specific. It's a little bit more intuitive. The program, started with Bob Bacino, who did a great job, and when Bob retired, we were fortunate to lure Tommy Proch. So we've had some accomplished teachers who have worked in the field, and they're connected still, and they get those kids placed in various, you could call them internships, but summer employment, and then several of them have gone on to culinary schools and are doing quite well.
So the year is off to a good start?
We've had a great start. I think I've talked to several of our principals and central office administrators, and all of them have said this is one of the best starts that they've ever remembered. So that's gratifying to hear. I think we've done some things consciously to that end, and probably unconsciously, and got lucky in some situations. But I think it's been great. We've hired a lot of new staff. I think we have about 30 throughout the district, and that's a challenge for
What's your turnover rate?
all schools. It really isn't high, except that we have, for years, had a number of veteran faculty who are starting to retire. And so I would say that at least half of our openings were due to retirements. And then there are the few people for whom Nantucket is not a match.
Right.
And
or housing or whatever.
And housing is certainly a challenge. But recruiting, we need to get a deeper pool. We work very hard, and we've been fortunate in finding some good people, but the pool for certain teaching positions across the country is shallow. And when you add our geographical location and challenges to that, it can make it particularly, challenging. Sometimes we get somebody because of Nantucket too.
Right.
It can work both ways.
How do you deal with the issue of teacher burnout? How does the district approach that? Is there any? I mean, because other places I know it's a real issue.
Yeah, I think it can be a challenge because I think that teaching gets more difficult every year. Quite honestly, it is not an easy job. It's hard work because you're giving you're all mentally, physically, and probably as much emotionally. So it can be draining. So you need times to sort of replenish. And sometimes as people reach that retirement age, they reflect and decide when it's time. And sometimes you have those hard conversations with people. But I think generally educators know, because they're there for the love of the kids, and when that spark, I don't think it ever goes out, but when it starts to dwindle, I think people know. So it is a challenge for everybody. There are more state initiatives and national initiatives, and there are more, I think there are more questions by the public of educators now than there used to be, certainly when I was a young teacher. Back in that day, I think whatever we said was accepted and you moved on, and I think there are more challenges to that, which isn't all a bad thing.
No,
in some cases.
It probably is a good thing in some cases.
Yep.
Well, Michael, thank you for joining us, and good luck to you with the rest of the
Thank you.
finishing the building and the rest of the school year. And
Maybe we can do a spot on the site when we finish the building.
Gino is
We're
excellent
gonna-
at drive arounds.
Yes, I know.
I'll be there.
Michael Cozort, Superintendent of Schools, thank you so much.
Dan, thank you.